Yeah.
Yo, my man, how you been? Everything good?
Yeah, good. How are you? How you been in quarantine? How's it been treating you?
Man, yo, it's actually, to tell you the truth, it hasn't been bad because I just been in the crib working on music,
Yeah.
you um, and just keeping busy. It's about it, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Um, have you been able to, you've been to like studio lately or anything like that, or working or collab with anyone like that?
Say that one more time.
Have you been able to go to the studio or like, collab with anyone or do anything of the sort?
Uh, have I been able to? Damn, you broke up one more time. Try it one more time.
Have you been able to like, have you been able to like collab with anybody, like in
Oh,
the studio,
yeah,
do anything like
yeah,
that?
yeah. I have. The young lady that did that song on Heartbeat, Levita. I was able to connect with her, and she does a lot of acting. Not a lot. That she is an actress,
Okay, awesome.
and she's just been busy with that. So it's been that's been the only thing that's been hindering us because we're trying to shoot the video for Heartbeat,
Okay.
and just trying to get it all together. So COVID stopped that, but other than that, it's just been good.
Okay. Yeah.
What's going on with y'all, man? Y'all been staying busy?
Yeah, well, I'm at home in Chicago. Beck's in Boston.
Uh,
So we're just like we're working on 808. We're developing, the web app and the iOS app right now, and we're also like we're just hosting like networking events like online, like every
okay.
2 weeks. To keep still engaging with the community, and we're trying to post 5 times a day on Instagram.
Uh,
Uh, it's like keep engaged with the community. You know,
right.
produce like give content out and that kind of stuff.
Got you.
But yeah, like
Let me tell you, that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to um, secure a team
mhm.
for marketing management and stuff like that. And it's funny because it's like I bounce back and forth between artist mode, producer mode. So
Mhm.
there's things that I'm working with a team now. I'm part of someone else's team because I'm producing music for them, and I see the things that they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't have all that stuff, so I need
Yeah,
it.
definitely having like a good team is definitely like
Yeah, yo.
definitely a good thing to have behind you, like that support, and you're providing value to one another, so it's good for sure. Yeah, we definitely took on we have like about 4 interns this summer, so yeah, we're definitely getting a lot more done,
Cool,
having them on board for sure.
cool. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the love, man. Yo,
Thanks, man. Of course.
it's it's dope. It's dope.
Yeah. But yeah, why don't we get started with the interview?
Is my background? I look good? You straight for all that? How's that work? You let me know because I'm over my girlfriend's house right now. So
No, it's perfectly fine. So just to give you guys just to give you like a little bit of a background. So we would do like an in-person interview, but, due to quarantine or due to COVID. Like we're starting to do like some online interviews. I don't know if you've seen like we're starting to post some of the interviews that we took back in September on our YouTube channel. Um, so yeah, we just wanted to like we're trying to do this like once a week, trying to get to learn more about people's stories, and then kind of showcase you guys to our community, to like Atlanta and to the rest of the world, so that people can learn more about who you are, that kind of stuff.
okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so
I've been seeing it though. I've been seeing the poll. I've been seeing a lot of activity from you guys, so it's been good.
we're trying to keep consistent with everything, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely doing it. Y'all definitely doing it. So that's what's up.
So yeah, so I read a little bit about your history. So so talk about, you said you got started DJing in high school when you were a younger kid. So talk a little bit about like DJing in high school and how that kind of influenced your love for music and taste and all that kind of stuff.
Man, gosh, and it's funny because it, DJing was like, okay, you heard of DJs, but for me, it wasn't like what we see right now. So when you say DJ in high school, like in '82, it's not like, okay, there was DJs flying around the country as much as they are right now. So it wasn't a fantastic job. It was a lot of work. You're picking up speakers. You're the first one at the party, the
Mhm.
last one at the party. Typically, you have a lot of help going to the party, but less help coming back from the party because everybody's gone. You know, they want to hang out with the girls or whatever. And you're there with like 9, 10 crates of records, bass bottoms, tops, and trying to fit it in 2, 3, 4 cars in the truck. So it wasn't glamorous. It wasn't like, you know, oh yeah, I want to be a DJ. And it's like, okay, you can start by downloading MP3s. Nah, you had to go buy a record, find a record store, and stuff like that. So it wasn't an easy decision to say, okay, oh, you want to be a DJ? It was like, okay, yeah, that's what they do, and you got to look at all the bad parts of it. So that's how I looked at it. But it still intrigued me because I love music. I feel it's I am music to some degree because I hear it all the time in my brain. So
Do you come like from like a musical background? Like, was there were like your parents like musicians or like any of your siblings musicians?
yeah, you know, I didn't have any family members that was, you know, immediate family members that were musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I had cousins that were DJs that were older than me, and they, you know, I saw that, and they taught me a lot. And then, but you know, those when we talk about older, we talk about from the disco era, you know, what I mean, funk and R&B era. There was no rap when they was doing it, so I learned a lot and was in that frame of mind in the frame of mind of DJing before rap came. So that was my historical background as far as musicians. You know, had a grandfather that was a musician, but you know, it's not like we met and we hung out. It wasn't like that. So there was no influence from a family member. Cousins that played. Church was a big influence. A lot of feeling, a lot of emotion in church. Church is very important. God, very important. So those things always and will continue to always be in my life. But that was my background as far as live musicianship and instruments and stuff like that. But directly related to DJing, it was the radio. You know, the radio DJs and you know, Frankie Crocker, Paco Rabanne, New York radio DJs and the street DJs like Grandmaster Flash and Wiz Theodore, stuff like that. Those were, you know, the people that I looked up to be like, okay, how do you do this? You know, how do we make this work?
Mm-hmm. So like, how did your family like members feel about, you know, you DJing?
No, my moms and pops wasn't having it. They wasn't having it, you know, and rightfully so. As a parent now, I have 2 beautiful daughters, and as a parent now, I understand. And even before I became a parent, I understand their concerns because the times when I was coming up, it was dangerous in New York, you know, for a kid that just was green, and I was green. I didn't have a clue about anything in junior high, stuff like that in high school. So I would have got into some serious trouble, got seriously hurt if my parents were to let me just do whatever I wanted to do. And I know that now. But at the time, I fought tooth and nail, like, nah, I'm a DJ. Let me go. And it was a lot of drama. It was a lot of drama.
Yeah, for sure. So I know. So I know you talked about, you know, going into the military or going into like service after. Was that directly after high school?
Yeah, I was as young as you could be to get into the military. That's how old I was when I went in. So I was still a kid, still green. And I went in with crates of records and turntables. You know, as soon as I can get them to my station, my duty station, that's what it was. So
was like that your plan from the beginning to go into the military, or?
yeah, because as a kid, because I didn't. For me, I was like college, and I wasn't even thinking about that. And I had family members that were in the military, and I saw how well they were doing. So it was just a matter of saying, okay, I'm gonna follow my elders. Okay. And that's pretty much what I did. I had lots of friends that went to college, but when I left, I was gone. I wasn't back to visit, but I wasn't near New York for close to 6 years.
So talk about like, tell me a little bit about like your journey, like DJing, you know, while you were like overseas or while you were in the military. did you still have like that passion, or did you try to experiment with other kinds of music, or how did it kind of work with that kind of like life, the military life?
It was really crazy because I remember being in Hong Kong on the
Mhm.
Kowloon side, for those that know. And we went to a club, and I went in with like 3 crates of records, thinking I'm going to do what I normally do when I go to every other port that I go to. But the people over there, when they saw me coming with records, and I guess because there's not many black people, at least at that time, there wasn't many black people over there. So here comes a young black kid. He's coming in with records. In their mind, they know, wait, he must be a DJ. He got records. They just opened the door and let me do my thing. Um, and it was fascinating. And at the time, it's not like I wasn't thinking like, okay, I need to make these connections and keep these connections. It was like, yo, I'm coming to do my thing and then I'm out. And that's pretty much where I was during those times. Because for me, it was just like, this is what I've always done. It's not like I didn't see a future in it, but I wasn't in the frame of mind of business and networking and stuff like that. And it's still a little difficult for me now to do because I was sooner and I still stayed at home working on music. I'm not the one to be out in the streets and hanging out and drinking and wilding out. It's never been me. So when I got there, my thought process was, yo, I'm gonna rock this party. Yo, we cool. Get some drinks. Going back to the next port or whatever. So I didn't keep the connections, but I learned so much from the people in all those places that I went to, but especially in Hong Kong. The technology was way ahead of us. I saw things over there that I had never, still to this day, I haven't seen as far as the type of turntables and mixers and monitors in the booth. I had never, at that time, I don't think I had ever been in a DJ booth that was secluded from the club. It was, what I did in the room, I knew was going out there, but I didn't really listen to the venue. I was listening to the monitors in the booth. So that was a new experience for me. So things like that, I learned from going to different places. Um,
So how did that kind of affect the way you were DJing? Because usually like in America, like you said, the DJ is kind of like front and center. Like a lot of people can see uh, where he is and like how he's using the turntables and all those things, like how he's working. So how did that kind of like affect the way you worked uh, as a DJ, like playing the music?
how did it affect me as far as how I worked?
Yeah. So like, did it make you think of like playing differently, or you know, because you were like secluded, like a different.
It's funny. It did make me think differently because this was a normal reaction. You know, it, I don't, I don't look for applause and the accolades. It's never really been that. Like, I can make something, make some music, and it's like, oh, I think that's hot. And my gauge for thinking that it's hot is based upon my peers and the people that I admire. So even if I make something and it doesn't work out, if people don't like it, it met the requirements to be, a good song or a good mix or whatever. Because I'm comparing it to Flash, I'm comparing it to Jazzy Jeff, I'm comparing it to people that I admire,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like, okay, I think if uh, Louis Vega heard this, if I think, Kid Capri heard this, they would say, yo, that's good. I like that. Who is that? You know what I mean? And if I can make that meet that goal in my mind, and that's how I'm happy about it. So all the accolades and people, oh, yo, this is how you DJ, you from New York, blah, blah, blah. That didn't even phase me. I was just like, I've always heard that. You know what I mean? It's always been, okay, yo, you rocking, yo, you good. So I got over that quickly. Um, Actually, I got over it real quickly when I embarrassed myself, by doing things. Oh, you hot now? And it was just like, nah, you're not that hot, son. So, I learned quickly,
Mhm.
don't toot your own horn, you know, do good work. No matter what it is, you're going to be all right if you do good work.
Mhm. So
The struggle is within myself, really.
like you're just like always comparing yourself, like how I can get better every day. Okay, that's awesome. So like what was like one of your favorite experiences, DJing abroad, DJing overseas? Was it that Hong Kong experience, or was there like a specific moment when you realized like, oh, like this is
It's
actually
funny. Uh, I guess the most memorable and to me the most fantastic experience wasn't really overseas. It was in Atlanta. It was
okay.
in Atlanta at Yin Yang Cafe. I DJ'd. You remember Ruckus Records? Most Def, when the label at Most Def came out on.
Uh,
It was early, not late '90s. It was late '90s. They had a tour called I forget the name of the tour, but I DJ'd that party when it came to Atlanta, and it was just all about real hip hop. Just funky real hip. The early stuff that you hear, Compton, Most Def, Talib Kweli, um, uh, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that was rhyming on Ruckus Records and labels from Cali. A lot of good hip hop in the late '90s. And I was DJing at Yin Yang Cafe, and it was for that party, and everybody's grooving.
yeah,
Dropped the music and did like fill in or something just between the two turntables. Heard everybody humming the groove. They was just everybody was in it, and that was the most gratifying experience because everybody understood and was on the same wavelength. Me musically, and that's the goal. When I'm playing, when I'm DJing, whether it be drum and bass, house music, or hip hop,
hmm
I'm trying to get you to see what I'm seeing when I'm playing or making music, and to have a room full of people that are true fans of it, not just outsiders looking in. They live for it, like I live for it, to be on the same wavelength. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I think that might have been
yeah. Wow.
the best experience, most gratifying, because I was like, yo, I touched you. You know what I mean? Now it was at that point, you know, I felt like not that I could do no wrong, but we were on the same page. And oh, you like that? Check this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yo, now it's back. I'm gonna remember the name of that event. I forget off the top. It was it went around the country. It was dope. It was really dope.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know like the one of the a DJ, one of the biggest goals for DJ is to you know basically speak your vision musically to them
Mm.
on the dance floor or wherever they are, and that's like once you do it, like it's definitely like has to be an amazing feeling for sure. Definitely. Um, but yeah. So when you came back, after serving to New York, um, you mentioned like the territory was kind of different. Things were moving differently. So how did you kind of learn? How did you adapt to that new environment and go on about and make like your first record?
I didn't hear you. Repeat that one more time.
Yeah. So you said that after serving, after doing your service, you came back to New York, and
Right.
you spoke of how the environment was different, like musically, hip hop wise. So how did you, adapt to that new environment and end up creating like your first record? Like, what was that whole process for you?
Um, it it started out. It started out at the root of what I do, which is DJing,
hmm
and really the functionality of DJing. I literally was. You need a DJ for your wedding? Cool, I'm there. You need DJ for your you know, christening, DJ for the church. I was everywhere just because nobody knew. I was on Long Island, but been away so long, it was like, I don't know you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was constantly having to prove myself. I could do the job. And just keep it moving. So that led to subsequently that was networking at the same time. So that's how I met a lot of people that I still deal with to this day. And then blossomed from, okay, yo, I can make a record. You know, I want to hear this record do this. You know, a lot of rappers on Long Island, hip hop is doing really well. There's deals on the table that, you know, involve a lot of money. So I'm like, wow, okay, we can do something, you know. And Long Island being a hotbed of international artists, you know, not just in hip hop, but you know, Billy Joel is from Long Island. You know what I mean? Or you got a lot of people in Long Island that are talented and doing a lot of things. So we've seen that growing up on Long Island. So it was just a natural step to get into producing and having all these rappers that wanted to do something that were hungry. It's like, okay, let's see if we can put something together and make some noise. You know what I mean? So that's how I got into getting with artists or producing, and then it just kept going from there. Yeah, but there was a lot of talent on Long Island. Definitely a lot of talent. You know, you can run the list. There's most talented people that I know didn't even make records yet. Didn't even have a full music career. That, you know, it's funny. I've known rappers where, you know, they would rap, drive from Long Island into Manhattan. Throw any beat on, let the beat play on repeat. They would rap the whole and not repeat a rhyme, not stumble or stutter.
Wow, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they didn't have a music career. They didn't, you know.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, people are hot. I hear them making records, but I've seen a lot of people that deserve to have records.
Yeah. Freestyling definitely isn't, you know, what it used to be today. You know, it's definitely like a lost art for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Um, so going into like, you know, obstacles. So you said that, you know, one of the biggest obstacles was, you know, dealing with shady and like crooked people in the industry. So how did that like affect your work? And do you think you could like speak to like some of those instances and, you know, how like what you learned from those instances and, you know, how you're applying it to your current uh you know, environment in your work in DJ?
A lot of, you know, a lot of things um, that's shady, and it's funny. Your posture changes towards those situations and towards those people as, you know, you mature. So at the time, you look at it, it's like, yo, why are you tripping out? You know, what's going on? Why you take this money from me, or why you take this credit, or, you know, how come you just didn't do this and this and that? You know, at that time, you're looking at it like it's the worst thing in the world, and you're like, you know, but it changes over time. You're mature, and you're like, okay, cool, I understand how somebody would behave in such a manner. Maybe they didn't know how to respond. The immaturity made them do things that they shouldn't do. So, you know, I don't trip. Definitely don't. I don't hold any animosity and any anger towards those situations and those people. So that I say that first, you know, to set the record straight. You know what I mean? But some of the things were just dealing with people, promoters that weren't paying. End of the night, I learned the hard way: get your money up front. You come, you do the party, get your money up front. So there's been a few times where, you know, I'm DJing and the place got shot up. Long Island not famous for that, but it happens. Place gets shot up, or somebody, you know, brandishing a firearm, and everybody runs out. Everybody, including the promoter and the person with the money. And, you know, I didn't know them like that, so I couldn't really find them. What you gonna do? You just got took. You know, sometimes, you know, I'm sure it was a setup because it would happen later on in the night. Sometimes if it happens in the beginning, it's like, okay, you didn't make that much money, so it wasn't worth taking anyway. But if it happens late at night, you probably got took. You should have got your money up front, or at least pieces of it as you went along, if that was your deal. So things like that happen, probably more than I wanted it to. Um, I've lost, I've been robbed, you know, not face to face, but it was really stupid on my part. I used to have a 3.5 floppy disk in a briefcase, a double roll briefcase. So it was like regular size briefcase, and then a roll of it on top. That's how many 3.5 discs I had for my 900.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Manhattan, and I put them in my trunk. I guess somebody must have been watching me. I don't know, because that's all they took out of the car was my 3.5 disc. It had all my music on it. It all my production, you know. So I lost that. I got robbed another time, and it was really my man, Big Bear, watching. Still love you. You know it's all good. But you know, we teaching each other how to produce and stuff like that, and you know, the equipment got lost, and it's like you got to start over. So I've been in a lot of situations where I had to start over from, and it's never been records. It's always been production, equipment, or the software, stuff like that. But I never cried about it. I was just like, damn, it got me, because it's here. And they ain't never going until I hit the ground. You never gonna stop this. So I'm always able to create and this and that. So it wasn't, you know, definitely lost some gems. I'm like, damn, I needed that beat. You know, I'm not gonna be able to create that, but I know I'm gonna create something better. You know what I mean? So things like that was just, you know, shady. Because I'm sure when I lost those 3.5s, I'm sure somebody knew me and they just thought that I shouldn't have it, and they should, because it was just, you know, there was too much other stuff in the car for you to take, and to take 3.5 discs that you would have to have the right sampler in order for it to work. And you know what I mean? So, and you couldn't tell what kind of sampler it would be by looking at the disc. You would have to literally take the disc and put it in. If it works, you win. If it don't, you steal it. Why did you steal it? So it had to be somebody that knew. So things like that, you know. But it just made me stronger. You know what I mean? So I'm good.
So, so like kind of how did, you know, because you know I believe that like suffering creates character, right? And if you go through, you know, you should get like if you want to become, you know, great or become this type of person, then you have to, you know, endure some pain in order to, you know, like no pain, no gain kind of thing. So, how did those, you know, losses like contribute to, you know, you growing as a person and growing as a DJ? You know, you becoming like the next level of yourself.
Um, the growth and learning from the experience has helped me in a lot of ways, in and out of music. Just learning to be patient in situations and be like, okay, you got to rebuild your catalog. So I was like, it ain't gonna happen overnight, because what they took was a lot more than a night's worth of work. So it was a matter of being patient. So I learned patience and stuff like that. Always been someone in the gym. So I had always taken that philosophy of growth and understanding that, you know, muscle cells break down in order for them to grow. So I've always applied that to anything that happened in my life. So it's like, okay, this is just a matter of a breakdown and rebuild. And it's every time I've rebuilt, it's been a more solid situation, a stronger situation, and the entire outcome has been better than what I initially had. So and that mindset has helped me in a lot of major decisions in my life that have put me in bad predicaments. You know, that I owe a lot to the patience of my parents that taught me on how to deal with setbacks, you know what I mean, and how to look forward and go beyond, you know, what you see in front of you, you know, what your situation looks like, you know, and giving it 100% and saying, okay, have you tried every angle? You know, that is legal, that is morally sufficient, that is godlike. Have you tried every angle? And if
Mhm.
you haven't, then you need to do that before you even think of quitting and the unspeakable of doing something that's not right. You know what I mean? So it was just a matter, those things taught me and fortified um, the way I believe and the way I try to, exemplify when I deal with people in general. So that's pretty much it.
It's a pretty powerful analogy to like.
Yeah, man. It's dangerous out here. I mean, look what we're going through now, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who would have thought that, you breathe on me, I'm gonna die 2-3 weeks later? Come on, who would have thought something like that had been going on right now?
Yeah, it's definitely like.
It's crazy.
So what's kind of like your like ultimate vision for yourself? Like what's kind of like your ultimate vision for yourself? Like what's the story you kind of want people to read, when you kind of when you're gone, or that you leave on.
It's funny. There's a couple of things that I definitely want people to take away from my story, and a good portion of it is, especially as Black people, we need to learn how to entertain each other without putting each other down, without violence, without negative stereotypes that have plagued us since we've been in this country. So that's one of the goals. I've never been one to be calling people out of their names, and just disrespecting us as a people and just people in general. Now I get rap is about braggadocio. I get that, you know what I mean. But there's a level to it where I'm going to at least honor humanity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole point of saying, okay, I gotta, I get, okay, your lyrical gun, I get it. You know what I mean? But when it gets to the point that we see things like what we've seen in the past, where people take it out of context and the shooting, and we don't have to entertain ourselves in such a manner. And considering that we create this music, it's gone way out of hand. So it's one of the reasons why I'm not really, there's a couple of reasons why I'm not into a lot of the new hip hop and stuff like that right now. But a good portion of it is because we're not saying anything. We're not reaching, the next generation and giving them something to stand on.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, let's see how can we build? We're not really building, we're forgetting where we came from, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So
agree with that 100% for sure.
it's crazy. So I'm hoping that people can see that Robb-O didn't go that route. You know what I mean? That's not the route he went. It's probably taken me a longer time. Like there's a lot of things I could have done, but I didn't. You know what I mean? And I spent a lot of time using my music in the ministry of God. And that's taken me around the world. So those things I find important, and I hope that people can see that, hey, that is what was important to Rob, and it wasn't so much that I need to get paid. I need to have the biggest house. I need to have the hottest car. It wasn't. I've never been that way. You can't be that way if you're really a music lover, because it costs so much time and money to do your craft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you love this, there's no way your goals can be, I need to have the biggest house and this and that. You can, but I think your music to some degree is going to be empty. It might not last. You're not going to have that Quincy Jones career. You're just not. You're not going to have that those songs that are timeless. Some of the rap that come out, definitely some of the house records, drum and bass records, timeless. Shape Status, timeless drum and bass records that are gonna last. And it wasn't because they were looking for big cars and big houses. That stuff was a result maybe of just popularity, just a numbers game. But that's never been the goal. So I think when you see me and when you read the story on what was Robb-O doing in 2019, 2020, was like, he was doing music and he was trying to, you know, exemplify a godly life, you know, or praises due to Allah, trying to be okay. We're not here to just be foul.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a black or white thing. We're not here to be foul to people. You know what I mean? It's you know, just be good to people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with hip hop. There's definitely a large part of it that doesn't it's more for like the market and more for trying to make money than talking about certain issues. Or because I know like hip hop and rap especially was a medium through which black people would express their issues or like their political issues or like their anger with society, and they would use it as a medium to promote you know uh, ideas, or because like during those times um, definitely there were those times where I mean America has a history of law based, where black people didn't really have as much power or as much say or as much power. So music was like as you definitely music was a way to transmit that to the American people. So I definitely understand like where you're coming from when you're talking about how music has kind of gotten to a point where it's just we're just trying to, some people are just making music just to make it for like money, or really to tell like a story, or
Right.
for like a certain reason. Yeah, definitely see that for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's you know, I'm not mad at people that are doing, you know, that are having fun. I'm not mad at people that are having fun, you know, but to some degree, there has to be a fine line, or to draw the line in the sand, or say, hey, look, I'm not going to do this, you know, because I'm standing up for what's right. Or, girl, you don't have to be naked to sell a record. That was a rhyme, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be naked to sell a record. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, it's crazy nowadays. You know, I get it. You know, I understand, and maybe you didn't know, but when you get to a certain point in your career, a certain point in your life, you should be able to say, okay, I didn't understand back then. I understand now. This is how I've changed, and then let's move from there. You know, but I'm not seeing that enough. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like even some of those artists, so that that tell like their story through rap or through hip hop, those are actually like some of the more popular ones that are kind of like independent wise.
Right. Exactly.
So those ones are kind of like rising through the crack, like above everybody else just a little bit more. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Um. So another kind of like question that I kind of had was, um, I mean, I guess it just kind of pertains to like what we were just kind of talking about. So like when there's like more music than like one can possibly take in, and it becomes like kind of like increasingly hard to know what constitutes like an original or like a remake anymore. Like what's your opinion on the importance of like roots and traditions, and respecting like originals and like sources in terms of music?
You know, it's funny. I did certain songs.
Mhm.
There's certain songs that I feel should not be touched. You know what I mean? But those songs
Mhm.
have for everybody. All music has a special place in their heart and in their mind because of the way it was presented to you, and the vibe, the feeling, and the emotion that comes with it when you heard it. You know what I mean? There's certain songs that I remember. I remember I heard "Put Your Hands Where Your Eyes Can See" by Busta Rhymes. I heard it. I believe Busta Rhymes was from Nassau County on Long Island, and I heard it in Nassau County. So I believe some of the he must have gave it to some DJs in that that he knew or something.
Mhm.
I remember when the record came on, it shut the whole. It was a backyard party. It shut the whole party down. I was like, oh, what's that? You know, I was producing at the time. I was like, yo, whoever made that beat, yo, they won the game. They shut the game down. Then Buster started rhyming on it. I was like, I'll never forget that day. Now, if I hear some young kid rhyming over a Buster Rhymes record, that put your hands where your eyes can see.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not gonna feel it. I don't care who it is. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's somebody that can definitely do the song justice,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to replace the vibe I had when I first heard that record. You know, it's hard to replace, you know, watching Stephanie Mills in concert. It's hard to replace watching Frankie Beverly in concert with a team of senior musicians playing. Yo, it's hard to replace that vibe that they're gonna give you with a remake. You know what I mean? So that's for the person that heard it from the original standpoint. Now, my daughters, they never seen any of that. They don't know nothing about Busta Rhymes. They don't know nothing about Frankie Beverly. So they hear something that's new, that's a remake of. To them, it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a floating scale. To answer your question, it's a floating scale. It depends on where you sit on the scale. I'm not necessarily a super fan of the remakes, but if you're gonna do it, definitely understand where it came from and understand some of the things that I'm talking about. And can you create not just a song, but can you create that vibe? Have you performed the song live before you record it? Or you just go record the song? Have you seen people respond to those lyrics and the way y'all perform it so that you can bring that into the studio? You know what I mean? There's a lot of rap now, and there's a lot of rap artists now, and probably for the past 10 years, that have never had a rap experience live. Like they never, they never did that. You know what I mean? And it's like you have no clue on what you're bringing to the table because you never did it live. You just was in your room writing rhymes and okay, yeah, you can write rhymes, you sound good.
Yeah.
So come to the studio and you put that down on tape, but you never performed it live. You know what I mean? So it's that floating scale. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, you can redo the song, but have you ever performed it live? If you have enough performance experience to say, yeah, I know how to engage the crowd into what I'm singing. And those are some of the things that are missing in the remix. You know what I mean? Some of the things that are missing in samples, you know, where it's like, I play, you know, that original James Brown record was, you know, something that they didn't play on the radio. It was B-side to a 45. It was a version, you know, they used to call it a version, especially in early reggae and Caribbean music, where it was a dub or something like that. So when you don't understand those things, you feel like, okay, you can't attach to music. And then those are the things that are missing in the remake for me. But it won't be missing for someone that heard it the first time as far as tangible. But as far as being able to connect with the crowd, there's a connection, but it's not like some of the people from the earlier years that was performing these records before they were performing these songs before they were records. Mm-hmm. I was watching the Rakim documentary, and I think it was Melody. That was he was performing that before it was a record. It was recorded like 2 times, according to the interview. It was recorded 2 different ways before it was a record. So I can only imagine that when he went to the studio to record it, it wasn't him on a phone or winning phones back then. It wasn't him reading the lyrics off paper. It was already committed to memory. So at that point, he could take the lyrics and freak the notes. I don't see that happening right now. I don't see, you know, because you're reading it off the phone, they don't even remember it. You're not committed to memory. How are you going to perform it if you don't even memorize? See what I'm saying? And that's part of the challenge for me. I hear you singing it, but are you really feeling it? Are you just copying what you heard, or are you bringing something new? Are you bringing a new experience? So, you know, but I get it. You know, it's a good song, you love it, and you want to sing it again. So I get it. You know, I can't be mad at it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's you know, yeah, I was probably long-winded. I'm sorry.
No, that's a great answer for sure. Definitely puts a lot of things in perspective because I definitely didn't know, you know, a lot of that stuff. That you know about performing and recording but yeah, so like another kind of question that I had was so like what are kind of like some of your goals this year? Like where do you kind of see yourself, the end of this year, like, next year? What are kind of like some of your plans for yourself to kind of like get to the next?
That's a good question. Right now, I'm on 32 stations.
Okay.
So my dual mix is it's like 32 stations around the world, from Australia to
Mm-hmm.
um, Dusseldorf, Germany. Studio Sounds Radio. I'm doing drum and bass on their start next month, so at least more drum and bass than what I've been doing. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm still going to be DJing, but it'll be on that level, the weekly mixes like that. But I just secured a deal to do music for a talk show,
Okay.
and it might include me DJing on it. I'm not sure. I don't know how they're going to work, but I know I'm doing it. So, and that's the direction that I've been heading, and I've been building my catalog towards more scoring and things of that nature, and working with people on scores. So that's where I see things heading. Definitely still producing records, because I want to include things that I hear in my mixes. So definitely going to be making music and releasing it. The record label, it's there for me to do that. I'm not signing anybody else. I say that now until I hear something like, "Oh, you need help," and they want to, But as of right now, I don't have the team. I don't have the squad to run the label. So that's been going towards the back burner, and just for releases that I want to put something out. But the future, definitely doing more mixing, and the syndication, and production, TV, movies, videos. I would like to get into gaming because I think that's fantastic.
Like production wise.
Yeah, production wise, music production wise. So I like to get into that, doing the sound effects and things like that. I would love to do that. But definitely TV and the movies, the talk show. I'm excited about that. It's called the Ottoman Zone.
Autumn Zone.
Yeah, it's talk show that that's really based on principles of God, and we're going to be allowing people to call in and vent on some of the things that we're dealing with as daily issues, from COVID to racism, sexism, and things of that nature. So this is a platform for people to express their feelings, and at the same time be in a safe environment where the hosts aren't dogging you out for your opinion, or being nasty or anything like that. So it's an exciting it's an exciting project for me. It's the first time doing a talk show, so it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Congrats. Yeah. Yeah, those are like really all the questions I kind of have. That I have. Yeah, if there was anything else you wanted to talk about, any questions you had for me or anything like that, we can definitely do that, or whatever.
First of all, man, thank you for the time and the effort and the work that you put into the underground community. They are really flourishing and having a platform to express themselves musically and creatively. Producers, engineers. I love the engineer series because a lot of people they forget about the engineers. You think you could do it at home? It's like, you're not really gonna get it like without an engineer. So, that engineer series is dope. I saw a sister the other day, and I like that there's a lot of females that are engineering, because they think it's a man's game and not. Females have ears too. Where that come from, I don't know. So thank you guys. The 808 Wave is a dope platform. And, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys grow and do a lot of good things. Y'all, is it true y'all are based in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. So we're I'm originally from Chicago and Beck's originally from Boston. So we just moved. Like we go to Georgia Tech. So we're there for like school and everything. We just moved back because of the quarantine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're based in Atlanta. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
The connectivity is still there because of all of this, right?
Yeah, the internet.
That's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was the first thing I definitely wanted to say is thank you guys for the time
Appreciate
and the effort and the work that you put in. It's really good. And I want to thank my team, DJ Michael Allen, DJ Big Bear out in Bellport, Long Island, and give a hug to my daughters, Sydney and Grace. I'm hugging y'all, baby. You know, it's all good. You know, that's about it. You know,
Awesome.
about it.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's it then. Thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. You know.